Hello, everyone. My name is Tucker, and welcome back to our Russian Fishing 4 float career. So today I've logged in. I've taken a look at both the cafe here at Mosquito and at Winding. Not a whole lot of good overnight orders. It is nighttime here, so I'm going to try and get crucians, gibbles, roaches, see what we can do, and just do a little bit of fishing here. So I did kind of take a look at yesterday's episode. In yesterday's episode, we did make about 70 silver while doing the bleak fishing. We spent about 5 silver on bait. So it was definitely a very good, profitable day. Between episodes, I did dig for worms like I have been doing a couple times, and then I went and bought a few hooks as well too, and we'll show those off. So each of the hooks was about 12 silver, but right over here can be a good spot for roaches, for crucians, for gibbles. So I did buy a couple different happy hooks, CL12. So I got a size 14 that I want to put on this rod. And then we're going to put maggots on. And we're going to want a depth of about 80 centimeters. And we'll cast out here. On this rod, since it's a little bit bigger, although the line's not bigger, we'll go ahead and put a 12 on, again with maggots. And I forgot to check the depth on that. I'm still set at bleak depth. Let's see if it's a little bit deeper here. So we'll try 90. Yeah, it looks like it's a little bit deeper. I may make rod 1 a little bit deeper. And then on the bottom fishing rod, I'm going to put another 12. And this one I'm going to put wet bread on, mainly aiming for carp species. And I did not have the clip set the way I wanted it to. I want about an 8-meter clip, and it looks like I've got at least a 10. So 8-meter clip here. Cast that out, kind of up and over the boat. And we'll just see how things go. It is nighttime, maybe not the best time, but here you can usually catch almost anything. There is a bit of a wind as well too at 6 meters per second, so we'll have to keep an eye on our floats as they are kind of getting pushed in towards the land a little bit. So it is early afternoon on Saturday, October 8th. The other videos that I did yesterday that had a bunch of just cuts of me catching fish. It's only been up for about 5 hours, but it seems like it's doing pretty good. So we may do some more of those, especially as we're just trying to grind here. So today's goal is really just grind, make some silver, make some experience points towards level 12. Level 12 does unlock Oldberg, which is kind of our next goal. And I do want to work up bait harvesting. As I'm saying that, let's dig for some worms. I do want to work up bait harvesting to get that up to level 20%, because that unlocks pearl barley, and pearl barley is very good for fishing bream species over at Oldberg. So I'm noticing this one's moving around a little bit. I don't think there's a fish on it yet. It may just be the wind. Yep, it was just the wind. I'm going to go ahead and lower this to about 1.1 meters. We'll cast that back out as well. So it is pretty deep here, actually. I usually bottom fish here. I don't do a whole lot of fishing here. Usually carp species are good kind of over in the weeds there. Roaches tend to be better facing the boat. Getting a little bit of nibble here on rod 1. Decent crucian. 400 gram. You can tell when they start getting that more golden color that they're getting to be bigger, decent fish. Getting a nibble over here on 2. Smaller crucian. And again, notice how it wasn't quite as gold colored as the bigger one. That's really how I can tell that it's decent, is when you're pulling it in and it's a nice golden color. And the bigger they get, the more golden they get. It's interesting what I threw out to catch roach caught carp. What I threw out to catch carp caught roach. It's either a gibble or a roach on rod 1. Got my floats twisted. It's a good fish. 700-gram roach. I am toying around the idea in my head of creating a spin fishing character. If you've been watching since the start here, decent. That might be a tench. Yeah, 1 kilo tench. Maximum experience points for a fish, 250 experience points. Nice. I am considering starting a spin fishing character. If you've been watching from the start or seen episode 0, and I'll put a link in here, I do not really do well with spin fishing and want to learn how to be better at it. I've been toying around a little bit on another just kind of test character, some options at winding to level up via spin fishing. And I've thought about creating a second series on that. Maybe do more of the catch a fish to music type things rather than commentary on it. But we'll see. We'll play it a little bit by ear as time goes. I want to get this going a little bit further along before I start doing that. But any thoughts on that, feel free to comment below. Right here's being a little bit slow for me today. I do want to pull this in a little bit. Not quite that far. And while I have it out of the water, let's go ahead and go a little bit deeper with it as well. That's about where I want it. It is overnight, not necessarily the best time to be fishing carp and roaches, so we'll see what happens when the sun comes up here, as it's actually starting to do at almost 3 a.m. The weather outside today has been a great day. I woke up about 3 a.m. just waking up. I had the window open over my bed, and it was about 38 degrees outside, so a little bit chilly. It's in the 60s today, so nice weather. We'll get a little bit warmer again before fall kicks in too much here, but it's a beautiful day out there. Just got back from a nice walk of the dog as well too. Rod 2 might actually be sitting on the bottom. I'm noticing the float's not quite at water level, so the water should be at the red line, and it's not. So I think 1.25. Whoops, I think 1.25 is a little bit too deep. Let's go back down to 1.1, which is what I have rod 1 at. There we go. And now if I zoom in, you can see the water level is sitting right on that red line on the float. Or if you're looking over at rod 1 there, the yellow line right above the float camera from rod 2. Getting a nibble here over on, actually getting a nibble on both rods. Wasn't sure if he was actually latched on there with the float slowly moving away like that. Didn't want to jump the gun. So if you're doing the traditional get 3 feeder rods, you will do a lot of fishing right here in this spot, going for the crucians, the gibbles, the roaches, that type of thing. You can get a lot of trophies in this area. I see it about once a week. I see this exact spot on the VK site showing off a trophy being caught here, whether it's crucian, again over in the weeds there, or a roach, usually straight ahead. Today, I would say this is honestly the slowest this spot's ever been for me overnight. Might be the hook size, but usually I'm actually using even bigger hooks. I kind of switch between 14s and 12s and 8s and 6s. Seeing a good bite here on 2. Probably a no. Decent crucian. Yep. But the way it was kind of jerking around like that, it looked like it might be a perch. Getting pretty good size fish so far. Most of them have been markers. But the sun's starting to come up. We're getting to some of the peak fishing times as well. It's almost like the game heard me right as I said that the sun came up. Definitely have something on the feeder rod. I'm starting to see a bit of a nibble here on rod 2. So I want to see what happens. Again, float fishing, you have to be a little bit more interactive. Feeder fishing, especially with the happy hooks, it's a lot harder for the fish to slip off the hook. Reasonable gibble. Reasonable common roach there. Marker still. I'll take it. Seeing a bite on rod 1. When the float popped up there, I knew we had something on it. Good crucian. 500 gram. Float fishing's up to 26.6. I could have gone bleak fishing again at both here or over at Winding. There were orders for both up. I just wasn't in the mood. Yesterday was a great day for bleak fishing. Wanted to do something a little bit different today. So I don't expect to get to level 12 today at all. We'll probably get maybe a quarter of the way up there. And then again, I may try and buy some stuff to either make some more potatoes or some more wet bread. I want to keep leveling up bait harvesting to try and get that up to 20%. Seeing a bit of a nibble here again. Got a nibble on both rods. Float popped up. Another 500 gram, almost 600 gram crucian. Right now the float for rod 1 is on the right side. It's been pulled over a little bit by a fish. So just something to kind of keep in mind. The red topped float is the red rod. The white topped float is the black rod. And again, I do want to buy a second one of the black rods, hopefully before we get to level 12 and up to Oldberg, which shouldn't be a problem. And good old Alexa in the background. That might have been a bite. I thought it was a fake. Or a nibble. Float popped up. Another good crucian. Getting about 100 XP of fish. I can't complain. Oops. That didn't get far enough out. There we go. Float was sitting on its side, so I knew I was sitting on the bottom, which you don't really want to do with float fishing. Makes it a lot harder, especially if you're not in a river, to see bites, because the fish can just nibble on your bait and not actually pull the float down. So right now I'm just barely above the bottom on both of these rods. You remember earlier I set one of them to 1.25 centimeters or 1.25 meters, and I was actually sitting on the bottom, and now I've got them both set at 1.1. Little baby fish, little baby roach. That's not where I want it. That's too far in. Kind of want it about even with the nose of the boat is my goal. Although that's still not deep enough because, again, it was sitting where you could see that the water line wasn't on the red line. That's better. Getting to about 8 o'clock, which is usually my prime time for fishing here. Float popped up. Another decent fish. Ooh, little bream. We'll be fishing for a lot of these when we get to Oldberg. So we started right around midnight. We'll see how far we go into the day. As it gets warmer, things could dry up here, but so far bite rate's starting to pick up. I'm starting to be happy. I want to try worm here and to see what we catch. That's not quite far enough out. There we go. And speaking of worms, dig, dig, dig. 17.6. I'd let my food get a little bit lower than I should have there. So I had to drink 2 thermoses of tea. Or consume. I guess I eat the whole thermos. Got nibbles on 2 and the bottom rod. We'll pull this fish in. Just barely a marker. Wasn't very golden. Further out than I really want. Definitely have a fish over on the bottom rod. This looks like a perch. But it's a gibble. No, it was a perch. When I was pulling it in, it looked like I didn't see the green that I usually would on a perch. Got a decent fish on the bottom rod, it looks like. With it swimming over there by the dock, I may have to go around. Nope, I'm able to pull it between the dock and the boat. Decent little roach. Almost up to 15% on bottom fishing. Which again, isn't the focus here, but 3 float rods being as interactive as they are tend to get my mind confused. I usually just miss fish because I'm switching around between rods too much. And having the bottom rod definitely opens up some opportunities for other fish as well too, or makes it easier for other fish. And ultimately, play the game how you want to. There are people that switch between bottom fishing, float fishing, spin fishing, all the time, just depending on what their mood is. You can use the same reels for bottom fishing, spin fishing, bolognese rods, things like that. So reels are shareable between the types of fishing. Rods are not. So you can save a little bit of money that way. You can switch the line between your rods. So take your reel and your line off of your bottom rod and put it on a spin fishing rod. For me, that just gets annoying. I like to try and buy a second set of line at least. I don't mind taking the reel off, but play the game how you want to. I just wanted to do something a little bit different since most of the tutorials you'll see here are get 3 bottom rods and grind up that way. It's probably the most efficient way early on to make silver, make experience. Spin fishing might be a little bit better experience because the starter spin rod actually is a light rod, so you get a bonus experience to it. I think it's either 25 or 50% bonus experience. So every fish you catch has a little bit of extra experience on it. And a lot of the spin fish are worth a fair amount of silver. So that's another reason I'm kind of curious about starting up a spin fishing character, would be to see how much silver that character has gotten before level 12 and see if it's even or if you level up quicker because of the bonus experience points and don't get the silver and therefore can't afford a second, a third rod. And you won't be spinning with 2 or 3 rods until you start trolling, so getting in the boat and going through the lake, which you can do at these lower lakes. I haven't done it much at Mosquito. I've watched a few people just play around. When you get to Quarry at, I think that's level 20, that's some great silver. You can get 200-300 silver an hour doing that. But you need pretty decent equipment. You need 8, 10, 14 kilogram rods and reels to be able to fish Quarry effectively. I will say I've taken that Lacerti reel to Quarry and been pretty successful with it. But if you hook into a big fish, if you hook into a big fish at Quarry with that Lacerti reel, we're talking 7, 8, 10 kilograms, you may be on a 20, 30-minute fight to pull it in. And wear your reel out from the friction brake and mechanisms, just trying to hold the fish in. Got a bite on both rods. May not get the one on rod 1. We'll see. Cast rod 2 out a little further than I wanted to, but I was keeping an eye more on rod 1 to see if we actually had a bite or if it was still a nibble. These both feel like either gibble or roaches with the way they're bouncing up and down like that. Or big crucians. Almost a kilogram. 914 grams. So far, getting pretty decent experience for these crucians. and a pretty reasonable amount of markers. I'm happy about that. So this bottom rod is not really doing anything. I'm going to go ahead and throw it over into the weeds and just see if that ups the bite rate. I think rod 1 is sitting on the ground. If you look at the float, it's pretty popped up and doesn't look like it's because of a bite. Nope, it's moving. This shows that you can catch crucians with just about anything. I've got worms, I've got maggots, I've got wet bread. And so far, pretty much all of them have been catching crucians. If I was mainly a bottom fishing character here, I would be using ground bait as well to help attract the fish. What is this? Another good crucian. This one might even be over a kilogram. Yep, 1.3. Nice fish. 200 experience points. So I was saying, if I was mainly doing bottom fishing, you can get what's called ground bait. It's another skill that you can grind up. Basically, it's a ball of, for crucians, you'll be using crackers, typically bloodworms, and I think sunflower oil. But it's just another thing you can make. You can make your own mix, or they have some recommended mixes. So ground crackers, millet porridge, and sunflower oil for crucians. Roaches is crackers, bloodworms, and caramel. And you can either throw it out and just let it slowly dissolve, and it gives about a 20-hour bump to fish biting, or you can put a feeder onto your bottom rod, which will let, I'm on the wrong rod. Dang it. You can put a feeder onto your bottom rod, which will let the ground bait slowly dissolve into a cloud around your hook, and then hopefully the fish gets confused while feeding on the ground bait and bites your hook. But it helps with the bite rate as well too. I've thought about doing it on float fishing. I've never really done that. It'd be an interesting experiment, but right now I just don't have the silver to justify an experiment. It is starting to rain a little bit, so we'll see if that adjusts our bites. Right now, so all the silver I've got, I want going into bait harvesting and getting some better equipment. Got a nibble on both of these at the same time. Missed that one. A fake out. So the rain will lower your comfort a little quicker, but tea helps counteract that. Another marker crucian, just barely, but we'll take it. The downside with the rain is it looks like the wind has picked up some as well, again, which will blow our floats around. %17.7% on bait harvesting. Good crucian. Probably 400. Ooh, 600 gram. Yeah, the wind is making it more fun to cast. Got a bite on rod 1 that I'm watching. Not a bite, a nibble right now. Watching the float slowly lay over, so I knew something was on it. Another 400 gram crucian. Right now it's a bit hard to tell if it's the wind blowing the float over or if it's a fish pulling it over. Nibble on the bottom rod, nibble on rod 2 here. Another barely marker crucian. So 12 hours, about 39 fishes. A little bit longer than 12 hours. I think there's a bite or a nibble on rod 1. That's why I was a little bit slow picking the bottom rod up as I was watching rod 1. Might be a nibble on both of them right now. $17.9. Got a little bit greedy there. I saw the float slowly going down. Didn't wait quite long enough, and then I think I waited too long on rod 2. When the float had popped up there, I should have pulled it in. Oh, definitely something on the bottom rod here, but I want to see if I can't catch this float fish first. There we go. Just shy of a marker. Small little gibble. Seeing a nibble on rod 1. I saw it going down thought I had a chance, but I was wrong. It does sound like one of my neighbors might be mowing grass. I don't think it's coming through to the microphone, but if you're hearing engine sounds, that's what it is. Can't completely mute that stuff out, unfortunately. Little perch. Watching rod 2, I thought I saw a bit of a nibble and don't want to be reeling in this one if there was a nibble, but I don't think that's the case. There is definitely a nibble on rod 1. I thought I saw rod 2 swimming away and I switched over to it real quick. Didn't actually watch it when I switched. And either it wasn't or I just jumped the gun. $18. And again, that's really my goal this episode, is to level up bait harvesting as much as I can. I want to get that to 20 before we get to 12. Little tench. Maximum total weight of fish caught in a day. Which again, we're fishing for bigger fish than we have been usually, so I'm not entirely surprised. Usually we've been going after sleepers and rough and bleak, which are small fish. These are all 3, 4, 5, 600 grams. I know I didn't tighten up the bottom rod there. I saw a decent nibble on rod 1 and wanted to get ready for it. Now I'm seeing a nibble on both. And it was popped up, but I'm not sure it was due to a fish there. And I don't have to tighten up the bottom rod. The fish can still bite it and pull on it and attach itself. Speaking of that, no longer need to tighten it up. Fish did it itself. You do want to make sure you at least close the bail, otherwise the fish could just be pulling line off your reel. Probably just messed up the bite on that one. That was a fake out and it was successful. Using honey dough or sweet dough, if you had higher bait harvesting, would be a little bit more successful here. Semolina porridge can be as well. Little baby roach. Wow, fish got away party. So if you see fish got away, that means someone had a fish hooked. Usually you'll see it more on bottom rods or spin fishing. They actually had a fish hooked, they were reeling it in, and the fish slipped the hook. Usually it's because you're using the wrong size hooks or early game hooks that have lower quality. It's possible that you either let too much slack in the line, or that's not my bottom rod, or literally tried to lift it up and rip the hook out of the mouth as well too. I've seen that. It's not completely avoidable, but it mainly is by using decent hooks. That's why I try and avoid buying too many of those red hooks early on. Is it seems like those just A, they can wear out and break easier, B, they seem to just lose more fish in general. Fish on both rods right now. Common carp. Kind of glad that bit the rod it did. You notice that was almost a kilogram and not even a marker. So 800 grams, not even a marker. Common carps are definitely strong fish. Big sleeper. Wow. What was that on? Worm? Yep. Did not expect that. Quantity and quality fish route wise, today has been a pretty good day. Started off a little bit slow overnight, which is kind of expected, but has picked up pretty well as far as bite rate goes during the day here. And pretty good fish in general. We're starting to get smaller fish now as we're getting closer to nighttime, but I'm not really complaining. We'll make a decent amount of silver. We made a decent gains on XP. Looks like about a quarter, 5,000 XP. And keep in mind, the last level we only needed 11,000 to level up. This time we need 18,000. So we made half of level 11's experience requirements today. Decent roach. It was a marker. Got a bite over on 2. Ooh, good crucian. Decent fish here. Roaches are starting to come out here at night. Or evening time, not quite nighttime. I saw the fish swimming away and thought it was actually on. 60 fish, about 19 hours. 3 fish an hour. Not bad. I will say I honestly haven't even looked at VK today to see what spots might be popping up. So this one could be popping up, might not. Who knows? But usually this one does better with semolina or honey dough or sweet dough. Semolina usually for gibbles. I think I've seen roaches here on pearl barley as well before. Decent fish. Perch. Still a marker. Still got us float fishing experience. My dog's got a nice little snore going on. He's happy. Nibbles on all three. Bite on rod one. Bite on the bottom rod. Good fish here. 500 gram. I think I got that far enough out. Now, rod one is definitely not far enough out. Just watching the nibble on two. I don't want to miss the fish there. You do have to be a little bit careful picking up your rods if your line's already pretty taut or tight. You may move it before you actually have the bite. Good fish. I'm glad I waited. 27.4 on float fishing. Another marker. I missed a bite over on rod one. Nope, it was still on there. Nice, because it's a decent fish too. Nice little gibble. Just based on the fish we've caught. So we spent about 36 silver on hooks today. I definitely think we'll make that back, break even. And probably then quite a bit more. I'm going to guess about 80 to 90 silver is what we've got depending on cafe orders. Go a little bit longer here with it getting to nighttime. don't want to go too late. We're coming up on our 24 hours anyway. Maximum number of fish caught in a day. So we caught 70 fish today in this 24-hour period. But that actually goes from midnight to midnight. 400 gram crucian. I'll take it. $71 fish in one day is our record. Decent small marker roach there. This is a good fish. Just short of a marker. Decent crucian. We'll go right up to midnight and then call it right after midnight. Dang. I was hoping we'd get more points there. Other thing I can't remember, and I just thought about it, is did I spend my level up point from level 11 or not? Something I'll check here in a second. Decent crucian. A little nibble here on rod 2. Float popped up. Little bream. Bream are especially notorious for pushing the float up rather than pulling it down. Decent fish here. $27.8 on the float fishing. The roach party there. Bunch of people in the area caught roaches. That was 18.3 for bait harvesting. Ah, missed it. Well, it's close enough to midnight. I'm going to see if there's a fish on here or not. My dog just woke up and pushed my hand. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll go turn in the fish we got here. Sounds like my neighbor's yappy dog is out being a yappy dog. So let's go see what we got as far as silver goes. So I started the day at 107 silver. Again, I spent about 40 silver on poles. And if I go over here to the cafe, didn't get a 4 kilogram tench, didn't get a 6 white bream. 7, we missed 1 big roach. There's a rough order, tench order, 15 silver there. Perch, we needed 5, we got them. Let's sort by weight. So there's 27 silver, didn't get bleaks. Crucians we definitely got, and we want to sell the smallest. So there's 34, 35 silver. Gibble, we need 2. We've got 2 non-markers. We'll go ahead and sell that. 35 silver. We're basically back up to where we started the day. The rough order's out. If I really wanted to, I could probably go knock that out overnight, but don't really care enough to go finish that off. So bream, none of them are markers, 0.36. The random big Chinese sleeper was 3.89. Common carp, again, it was a small one, so about 20.25. Common roach wise, biggest one we got was 3 silver, not bad. So 13 of them for just short of 13 silver. Crucians, caught a good number of them, a couple of them up in the 2-3 silver. But again, just look at the difference between here we're 17 grams apart, 0.07 and 40 and 0.4 for a marker. So that just shows you how important a marker is. But 44 crucians for 39 silver. We can actually afford the second starter plus rod now tier 2. So another one for gibbles there. As far as perch, about 3. And tench, nothing much. But ended up here at 167 silver, so that was a good day. That was about 100 silver in that 24-hour period. So definitely a good day. I may buy some bread and potatoes between episodes here because I do want to keep grinding up to get to pearl barley. As far as our points, I did spend the point that we got yesterday. So no points to spend here. We did get about the third of the way up to level 12 as well too. So good day overall. I will probably buy a second starter plus kit. So another one of these rods between episodes here. But I do want to thank you all for watching. And we'll get another episode out tomorrow. And we'll see you then. Have a good one.